Hey everyone, welcome to Logan's Mosh Pit. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to do another episode of the Breaking Down Songs series, a place where we take a closer look at some of my favorite songs from all kinds of different bands and analyze the lyrics, because when we do that, we gain a deeper appreciation for the music we listen to. If there's a specific band you guys want me to talk about in a future episode of this series, please leave a comment down below. I'll check your feedback. Today we're going to analyze my favorite song from Michael Jackson. Hee hee. The king of plastic surgery. Oops. The king of pop. Much better. So, all jokes aside, Michael Jackson was a man whose private life often received more attention than his professional life. People tended to focus on what he did off the stage, no matter how many albums he sold, regardless of how successful he became. People still like to spread rumors about him. They tried to taint his image. He was relentlessly torn apart by the media. They said all kinds of nasty things about him. Michael Jackson was a controversial figure, to say the least. Let's just leave it at that. He wasn't like other people. He was out of the box. So we're not going to dwell on that. We're going to separate the man from the music. We're just going to focus purely on the music, not get into the other stuff, because whether you like Michael Jackson or not, you have to admit he was a creative genius. He basically revolutionized music videos. He changed the game with music videos. When people think of Michael Jackson, they don't just think of songs that he did over the years. They also paid attention to his visual effects through music videos like Thriller, Beat It, Billie Jean, Bad, among others, Black or White. You could go on and on. MJ knew exactly what the fans wanted. He went above and beyond to please his fans, to give them something memorable, something that they wouldn't easily forget about. So Michael Jackson was a very creative type of person, why he thrived in the music industry. So now let's transition to my favorite song from my top 5 Michael Jackson albums. Starting off at the bottom of the list, at number 5, we have from the History album, a song called DS, probably one of, if not the most vengeful Michael Jackson track that you can find. Michael pretty much unleashed all of his aggression during this song, a far cry from what topics he usually covered. You could tell he was fed up at this point. He was just going after everyone, tried to slander his name. So next up, at number 4 from the Off the Wall album, the point where Michael Jackson assumed control of his musical career, even though he was only 21 at the time when Off the Wall was released. He was already a veteran in the music industry. He already had a few years of experience under his belt. Of course, he was part of the Jackson 5 for years before that. So from that album, I picked the groovy title track, a song that distracts you from stress, makes you focus on something else. So at number 3 from the Dangerous album, I picked the ultra catchy song Who Is It? Who Is It is the kind of song where you can't help but snap your fingers to the beat. Extremely catchy. So at number 2 from the Thriller album, the best-selling album of all time, pushed MJ to the top, I picked the intense single Beat It, with the Supreme guitarist Eddie Van Halen starring on this track. Put on a great performance here. One of the heaviest songs from Michael Jackson's arsenal. Finally, at number 1 from the Bad album, I picked the super smooth song Dirty Diana. This is the type of song that easily gets stuck in your head after you listen to it, you can't help but go back and think about that song. So I would argue that the Bad Era actually represents the peak of Michael Jackson's career. This is my favorite album from him. Now, my favorite song and my favorite album don't always coincide with each other. Sometimes I go with a song off a album I don't appreciate as much. However, this time, my favorite song and favorite album align with each other. So, the song that I went with in the end was Dirty Diana. This wasn't a blowout victory. The race between my favorite songs was pretty close, so I might change my mind if you ask me again later. For now, Dirty Diana reigns supreme. Dirty Diana edges out the other tracks, just barely. So that's the song we're going to discuss today. Before we do that, though, I want to give my usual disclaimer that I do in every episode of this series. This is just my opinion of the lyrics. It's my interpretation, what I think the lyrics mean. My opinion might be different from yours. That's fine. We all hear these songs differently. There's no right or wrong answer here. There's countless different ways to interpret a song. The lyrics might mean something different to each listener, so let's respect each other's opinions. So, I'm going to put a link in the description to Dirty Diana if you guys want to listen to it. Be my guest. So without further ado, let's get to the lyrics of Dirty Diana. We're going to go through one section at a time. Starting off with verse 1, the first part of verse 1. It goes, "You'll never make me stay, so take your weight off of me. I know your every move, so won't you just let me be? I've been here times before, but I was too blind to see that you seduce every man. This time you won't seduce me." So, the first part of the song, basically right away you can tell that this song talks about a person who is pretty much stuck in a situation they don't want to be in. They're an unwilling hostage, I guess you could call it. Almost like they're being held against their will. So we find out that the person holding them captive is a female figure, if you couldn't tell by the title. Someone who seems practically obsessed with him. They want to do some kinky stuff. They're physically attracted to him, but he keeps on resisting, telling them he doesn't want to do this. So now let's move on to the next part of verse 1. It goes, "She's saying that's okay. Hey baby, do what you please. I have the stuff that you want. I am the thing that you need. She looked me deep in the eyes. She's touching me, so to start. She says there's no turning back. She trapped me in her heart." So this section, she tries to convince him that what she wants to do is a good idea. He should participate in the fun. Stop fighting against me and let me have my way with you. There's no point of fighting back. In the end, you will realize I was right. So this song, pretty much, she wants to own him. She wants to make him belong to her, assume control of him. In her mind, he already does. He already belongs to her. He just doesn't understand that yet. She wants to make him understand that he doesn't own himself. She owns him. So very possessive vibes. Now we get to the chorus, which is pretty short. It goes, "Dirty Diana, nah. Dirty Diana, nah. Dirty Diana, no. Dirty Diana, let me be. Oh no, oh no, oh no." So in the chorus, it shows that he's still trying to stop her, trying to get away from her. He clearly wants to be left alone. He also doesn't return her feelings. He doesn't feel the same amount of attraction to her that she does. They're on opposite ends of the spectrum, polar opposites, basically battling each other, kind of like fire and ice. competing against each other, trying to gain the upper hand. Feels the same way in this chorus. So now let's move on to the first part of verse 2, which goes, she likes the boys in the band. She knows when they come to town. Every musician's fanned after the curtain comes down. She waits at backstage doors for those who have prestige, who promise fortune and fame, a life that's so carefree. So, in the first part of verse 2, it basically gives us the backstory of Diana, the person pursuing Michael or whoever the male character in the song is. It explains what her circumstances were, what drove her to act the way she does. So, from this section, we learn that Diana basically spends her time following around all kinds of bands around, very similar to a stalker. She has a very patient and methodical type of personality. She waits for her prize. Only a matter of time before they crack, before they give up, and she wins the fight. So she depends heavily on her appearance to get whatever she wants. She thinks her looks are enough to achieve anything she wants, including male figures that she's after. So it also explains Diana's motives here, what she really wants, what she's after, which would be fortune and fame. That's what she craves above everything else. So that gives you an idea of why Diana chooses to basically stalk all these musicians. So now let's move on to the second part of verse 2. It goes, she's saying that's okay. Hey baby, do what you want. I'll be the freak you can taunt, and I don't care what you say. I want to go too far. I'll be your everything if you make me a star. So, in this part of the song, Diana keeps begging him to give her a chance, let me do what I want. So, she's trying to reason with him, make some kind of bargain with him, trade something for another. Reveals her motives. Again, going back to the fortune and fame, a desire to live that type of lifestyle. She doesn't actually love him, she just loves who he is. She's more interested in what kind of resources he has, not him as a person. So, in this deal, she pretty much wants to exchange her devotion for becoming a household name. She believes that he has the power to give her that. So, as a reward for doing that, she's gonna act like a servant to him, do whatever he wants, come to his beck and call. So then we get back to the chorus, which we're not going to talk about again. Then the interlude. In the interlude, instead of resisting, he begins changing his mind about Diana, starts to cave in under the pressure, starts to question why he keeps resisting, thinks maybe I should do what she wants. So now let's move on to the first part of verse 3. It says, she said I have to go home because I'm real tired, you see, but I hate sleeping alone. Why don't you come with me? I said my baby's at home. She's probably worried tonight. I didn't call on the phone to say I'm all right. So this part represents how Diana wants to seduce him once again. She wants to have her way with him, but he's afraid that his girlfriend will get suspicious. Obviously, he's supposed to be home at a certain time, and he knows that if he doesn't show up on time, then his girlfriend will start wondering what happened, why aren't you here? So that's what's going on there. Then in the second part of verse 3, continuing on, it goes, Diana walked up to me. She says, I'm all yours tonight. At that, I ran to the phone, saying, baby, I'm all right. I said, but unlock the door, because I forgot the key. She said he's not coming back because he's sleeping with me. So, in part 2, he plans to make up some sort of excuse to explain why he decides not to come home at a reasonable time, such as running an errand or maybe visiting someone, anything to justify what he wants to do with Diana. Before he gets the chance to do that, though, Diana pushes him aside and interrupts and rubs it in his girlfriend's face, tells her the truth that he won't be coming home because he cheated on her with Diana. So, pretty much rubbing it in her face. He's not yours anymore, he belongs to me. So, then we go to the chorus once more, and finally the outro. The outro just consists of him repeating, come on, 12 times. Which, I think that part actually shows us that it proves he has finally surrendered to Diana. He stopped resisting her, which was a far cry from his point of view at the beginning. A major shift in his demeanor there. So, now that we've discussed what the lyrics mean, let's move on to the mood of the song. When you listen to Dirty Diana, how does it actually make you feel when you hear it? Well, in a word, suspenseful, because I don't know, when I listen to the song, you probably won't either, if Diana or the man she pursues will be victorious in the end. You wonder who will win the fight, if he will be able to have enough willpower to resist her, or if she will make his walls crumble. So we're left with that question. So how about the most memorable line from Dirty Diana? Well, I would have to go with, she says there's no turning back. I think this line reminds us that everyone, no matter how strong their willpower may be, eventually reaches a breaking point. Not a question of if, a question of when. How long will it take them to surrender? Once you give in, you'll leave your old life behind and make a fresh start with me. That's basically what Diana says. So now let's go over some themes from the song Dirty Diana. Starting off with the idea that materialistic things are the key to obtaining happiness, a concept that I think applies to America, incredibly prevalent in our culture. We believe that when we have more stuff, we'll be happier. So the next theme would be that, kind of going along with the point I made earlier about materialistic possessions, we also have this overwhelming amount of people who believe that physical desire exceeds emotional compatibility in a relationship. They're more concerned with the way a person looks, purely focusing on the physical parts of a relationship and neglecting the rest, not caring about what someone actually acts like. Certainly applies to this song and the situation in this song. So the last theme that I noticed from Dirty Diana was that if you want something bad enough, see what I did there? You will get it. That's the mindset that Diana possesses. Also a popular mindset among many people within this nation. The American dream in a nutshell. So now let's move on to some strengths and weaknesses of this song. First of all, the dialogue. The dialogue present within the song makes Diana more relatable to us, the listeners, tells us why she behaves the way she does, gives some background on that, so it helps us understand her better. The next strength would be that the beat of the song mimicked the attitude flawlessly, went right along with the atmosphere of the song. The next strength was that Michael Jackson sang the lyrics with such convictions. He sang in a way that felt authentic. I often compliment or praise singers who genuinely mean what they sing. They channel that emotion through their voices, which in turn will impact the listener. So the final strength was that so much detail was present in the lyrics, doesn't leave you guessing about what's going on in the song, lays everything out in front of you, makes it crystal clear. So good job for that. The only weakness that I feel compelled to share with you would be that this song as a whole glorifies the notion of cheating and, to a certain extent, sexual harassment too, which isn't okay. I give that part a thumbs down. So finally, on a scale of 1 to 10, how replayable is Dirty Diana? After you finish listening to this song for the first time, how often will you want to return to the song, listen to it again? Well, I gave this song 9 out of 10. The reason for that, the reason why it didn't quite get a perfect score, was that this song won't appeal to all audiences, won't resonate with all age categories out there. Some people might be offended by the topic or the lyrics that go on here, especially kids, maybe some older people, more sensitive people. But other than that, this song slays. You shouldn't let that stop you from listening to Dirty Diana. So, that's all I have for you guys. That does it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate the support. I'll see you next time. Until then, rock on.